This prison story is brought to you by JS Corner. I'm going to have his link to his channel pinned at the top of the comment section. Y'all go check him out.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
Come on, mister. I got kids, man. Come on, please. Man, shut up. You ain't think about that when you came up in here with these bad charges. You ain't think about that, blood. What up, what up, what up? We are back. Who am I? Jersey Street Corner, and this is the Prison Talk Show, people. So let's get into it. Now, hold on just a minute. I seen a few comments, and I'm gonna explain. Now, I know y'all saw the thumbnail, jumped out the gang. And y'all like, well, JS Corner, what you got to do with the gang? So, I'm gonna spend a minute or two and break it down for y'all. Right? Now, if you heard some of my other stories, you've heard me talk about the Bloods and me always being around for various things. Meetings, fights, whatever it is. That's who I rocked with. And that's just what it was. Now, I told y'all my cousin Dee Dee was the big Blood. And he had Stain. Now, I don't know how familiar any of y'all are with how things were back in the day. But in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a such thing called 550. Yeah. Look it up. Ask a homie if you know any. There was a such thing called 550. And what that meant was you was bulletproof. What do that mean? That mean that you are not a member of the gang, but you are recognized as somebody who will stand up with the gang. In other words, you can have most of the perks of being in the gang, but not be fully in. So, and that only came once in a while too, by the way. It wasn't thousands of 550s running around here, bulletproof dudes running around here acting, like they was tough or nothing like that. Not at all. It was family members that was down and, dudes that really showed that they could put that work in, but they just wasn't ready to cross over and come home. That was me. So when I say I was 550 bulletproof, that meant that my cousin introduced me to the gang, told them what it was, told them I had heart, told them I stand up and fight for mine, told them I go to toe with any of them Bloods that was on the set, and told them that I would show and prove. So when it came down to the prison fights where we got a bang, or rather they got a bang, I'm always standing there with them, front line to center. Like, it is what it is. Now, being that I was always front line and center, I could always count on them being front line and center for me. So if I ever had an issue in prison, which I normally didn't, all it took was one word. They bothering me. Yeah, I know that was more than one word, but y'all get the gist of it. So, bulletproof meant that pretty much I had free run of the prison. I could go around prison and do damn near whatever I wanted. Now, that didn't warrant me going around starting beefs and, just getting into gang shit. there's no way in hell I would go and make some static with the Crips and just be on some, well, I know my cousin gonna protect me. Nah, it wasn't none of that. I still had to hold my own like a man. I still was held under those guidelines that they were. So even though I wasn't a full-fledged member, I still had to uphold myself as one. If I was going to be around them, if I was going to sit at that table, if I was going to bang with them, then I had to be, all in. But the perks were I didn't have to do the things that they had to do. So there were certain protocols that, and I'm going to explain as much as I can without getting myself into trouble and possibly having YouTube flag my video. Y'all know the vibes. So there's a disciplinary protocol called the DP that normally only members are allowed to be present for and participate in. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I've never participated in a DP, but I was always able to watch a DP. And yeah, they're brutal sometimes, depending on what the DP is for. If it's a final DP, final meaning you getting excommunicated, it's going to be brutal. If it's a lesson DP, like you said some disrespectful shit to a homie that had more stain than you, or OG, you gotta get put in your place. That might just be a couple of punches. You might have to go through the line or whatever, catch a couple of punches from about 30 people. And it goes on and on. It depends. It's whatever the OG, determines the punishment should be. Now, we all know the punishment for a normal person coming into a prison or a pod with bad charges. Anybody that comes into a pod with bad charges, well, they gonna get that prison justice. That's just what it was. That's just what it is. So all paperwork gets checked from the door. You're not spending 2 nights in a prison without more than one person checking your paperwork. Oh yeah. Why? Because that first person might have missed something. So another person gonna come and read it again. And then a third person might come and read it again, just to make sure that you in the right pod, that you where you supposed to be. Now, after that paperwork is verified, now people gotta find out, well, is you gonna buck? Is you gonna fight for yours? You gonna push that blade? Who we got coming up in here? Just because you don't have bad charges don't mean you still won't end up being a target. Remember that, people. YNs, y'all remember that. Just because you don't got bad charges don't mean you're going to end up won't be in a target. Because you could be in a hot minute. Now let's get back to this story, y'all. Y'all got to stop getting me off track. Y'all know how I get. Alright. Now here we go again, y'all. It's another Wednesday. And y'all know what that is. New inmates. And it just so happens it's a night drop. And C.O. Brown is on the job. C.O. Brown, if you've been listening, is the officer that been letting us live up in here. Yeah, y'all, we got an exclusive deal with C.O. Brown. We get money with C.O. Brown. So when anything pertaining to us or politics in the prison go down, we first to know. We hear it right out the camel's mouth. If it's a raid about to happen, C.O. Brown gonna let us know. C.O. Brown so cool, he'll hold on to our cell phones for us while the raid is happening, and then as soon as it's over, slide it on back under the door. Yeah, you need people like that if you're gonna survive a long, lengthy sentence in prison. Now, C.O. Brown also gave us the lowdown on all the new inmates. So, if an inmate came in and he was an op, we was gonna know about it. If an inmate came in with bad charges, we was gonna know about it. If a new gang member came in the pod, we was gonna know about it. Now, they were supposed to put, different gang members in the correct pods. But if somehow one got slipped into our pod by mistake, we gonna know about it. Now, there was one new blood that came into the pod. Yeah. And his name was Raheem. So, C.O. Brown told us from the rip, like, yo, listen, I don't mean no disrespect, but one of your brothers is coming up in the pod. And he talking to Didi at the time, and Didi like, oh, what you mean? Like, nah, that's all love. Why not? Like, one of my brothers, like, why would that be disrespectful? And C.O. Brown like, hold on, let me finish though. Let me finish. He like, look, me and you, we got a good thing going. Now, I trust you to the point that if things hit the fan, my name will never be mentioned. And Didi like, damn, why you coming at me like that, bro? Like, I thought we was good. Like, you getting paid, you getting your bread, right? He like, no, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Everything is going good. But your brother, the blood that's coming in this pod, he's coming in on bad charges. Now, if y'all do something crazy to him, it's going to end up in a huge lockdown and investigation. It's going to slow bread down. We're not going to make no money on lockdown. So you got to figure out how you going to deal with this. Because I already know once the word hits the block that dude got bad charges, he going to be on the chopping menu. On the block. So Didi like, damn, bro, damn. When you say bad charges, what you mean? Like, what'd he do? Like, how bad? Like, what'd he do? And they're like, look, for all I could tell you is that the charge says soliciting a minor. Now, I don't know if the female was 17. I don't know if the female was younger than that. But that's what his paperwork say. His paperwork say soliciting a minor. So either way, he's still considered a chomo in the prison system. That's what C.O. Brown telling Didi. Now, Didi told C.O. Brown, like, all right, look, we gonna deal with it. We gonna deal with it how we deal with it. And if it come to it, somebody just gonna have to take that charge if need be. But ain't no way we gonna let a buster just walk around freely on this prison yard. It's not gonna happen. So C.O. Brown like, all right, well, what you want me to do? Didi told him, put him in one of our cells. Put him in one of our cells. One of the cells on the top floor. Where's less ears and eyes. So C.O. Brown was like, I got you. Now, Dee came back down, shared all that information with everybody, and he told, all the bloods on the top floor, hey, listen, he gonna put this new blood in one of y'all cells. Don't get too familiar with him. Check him from the door. Whoever cell he go in, check him. And check him hard. Run that paperwork, run his oath, all that. And you got free permission to do whatever you want to him in that cell. If you want to beat him down because he don't know his oath, go ahead. If he don't got his paperwork and he can't prove he in there for what he say he is, beat him down. That's up to you. He's still going to face this prison justice. Now, he would end up in the room with B. Love. And I know y'all thinking like, damn, he got Love in his name. Maybe he a nice dude. No. B. Love is not a nice dude. He's a huge dude with an attitude problem. And the one thing that he hates the most is people claiming to be part of his gang that ain't. And what I mean by that is, once you decide to cross over into that realm of bad decision making and catch bad charges, when you decided to lay down with that young lady, well, you was no longer blood. Because the real blood ain't going to make a stupid decision like that. A real blood going to stand up for his principles. You're going to go find you a grown woman, not some little girl. And a real blood don't want to hear no talking. When it comes to that prison justice, it's all blade work. Now, Raheem, he really wasn't that, vigilant. He wasn't noticing the things going on in motions around him. He wasn't noticing the people watching him. So, when he first made his introduction and tried to say that he was a blood, they immediately said, hey, listen, blood, we're going to have to take this meeting upstairs. We can't have this conversation out here in the day room. We can't have you, spitting our knowledge out in front of everybody because everybody not supposed to know. So let's go on upstairs. You can spit your oath and let me know who you be. So that's what they did. And of course, I'm following because what else do I got to do? Shit, I'm there. I might as well see what's going on. I'm invited. Now, they get him in this cell, y'all. Not only does he not know his oath, he's trying to make up stuff. It sounds ridiculous. And he's not showing them that he's a gangster. Raheem came in there with a bunch of tattoos, whole bunch of 5s and B's and, blood this and blood that, all over the place. But he ain't showing none of that gangster right now. That's the problem. You're not supposed to be scared of your brothers. You're supposed to be letting your brothers embrace you. In other words, you're supposed to be making sure they know that you official. But instead of that, you caving in because you a fake blood. You ain't a homie, and you never will be. You's a wannabe. Yeah. And now they typically get dealt with in the worst way, y'all. They get stomped out, beat down, and sometimes unalived for that front and shit. But well, in this instance, Raheem just ended up getting beat down brutally. And when I say, I'm saying 30, it might have been more. But at least 30 bloods came into that cell and ended up stomping a mud hole in Raheem. Now, I know y'all like, dang, 30 people in one cell. It wasn't 30 all at once. They were strategic. In and out, in and out. Every 2 minutes, you had a different set of dudes running that cell, replacing the dudes that was busy stomping him into the ground. And they commenced stomping him into the ground even some more. So, when I say 30 bloods stomped Raheem out, oh, I'm sure he had broken bones. I'm sure psychologically, Raheem don't even know who Raheem is anymore. And, oh yeah, part of the protocol, y'all, those tattoos, oh, they gotta go. You cannot walk around here with the blood brand on your skin and you faking. We got to burn every one of them tattoos off your body. So hold still for this prison justice. And well, I watched. I stood there and I watched. B Money, Be Real, Be Love. The three of them held him down, y'all. And Be Love had a poker, but on the end of the poker, it was twisted. It was like a piece of metal that was twisted. And it was like an X. And over all of his tattoos, the bloody 5, the paw print, the all of that, the blood bang, he put that X right over his skin. They had been heating it up, y'all. Heating it up with fire. They had that X so hot that it burnt through his skin down to the white meat in a matter of seconds. Those tattoos was demolished, ruined. It looked like a bunch of mismatched bullshit. Now, of course, Raheem is crying. He's screaming. But don't nobody hear Raheem. They caught Raheem in the bathroom. Turned the shower on so nobody could hear his screams. And with the normal noise in the pod and everything that was going on, well, let's just say Raheem's prison justice was uninterrupted. Nobody knew the wiser. And Raheem, well, Raheem had to crawl his ass to the gate. They ain't drag him to the gate and do him no favors. They left him in that bathroom sizzling. Skin still hot from that poker. And he had to crawl to that gate and beg them to open the gate and let him out. Now, C.O. Brown was the one on that gate. So C.O. Brown wasn't hitting that door to get him out until Dee Dee told him otherwise. He looked over at Dee Dee. Dee Dee gave him the head nod, and C.O. Brown hit the door, dragged him out, hit the alarm. Lockdown, lockdown, lockdown. And long story short, I want to let y'all know that most Bloods stand up for what they believe in. And most of them are stand-up guys. The 3 Bloods that ended up putting Raheem through that much punishment, they stood up for it. They ain't wait for a long investigation. None of that. Didi was a little upset because he thought that he probably could have finessed and, made it go away. But those 3 Bloods, they took 9 months dead time. That means they added 9 months to their sentence for the gang. They was willing to accept the charges and whatever came with it. And that's what they did, y'all. They took that time so nobody else would get bothered. And it was over. It was done. And everything moved on. But Raheem never stepped foot back in that pod again. As a matter of fact, Raheem got transferred out of that pod to a prison more fitted for people like him. Tree jumpers. Rapists. Yeah. That's where Raheem will spend his time. Do his bid among all of the rapists. Well, y'all, listen. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button, subscribe, share this video, and hype it up, man. I'm not going to keep telling y'all to hype these videos. Alright, look, that's the end of this story. I hope you liked it. Get at me in the comment box. This is the Jersey Street Corner Prison Talk Show. I am your boy, JS Corner, and I'm out.